What is going on, guys? Welcome back to the channel. Tonight we are back in the shop and we are back working on the TJ. Just in case you haven't seen the last video on this, this is a 1998 TJ that we are putting a 8.8 in the rear and a Rubicon Dana 44 in the front with 37s. And suspension wise, we are going with a 3-inch long travel system from Rusty's Off-Road. So I have parts for this thing everywhere. I got parts over there, I got parts here, there, behind the Jeep. Got a lot of work to do on this thing. These are gonna be awesome. So we're about to get the suspension on, but I just wanted to show you this armor. So this is Moto-Built's Highline Zero Flare fenders, and then Moto-Built's front bumper, and then also Moto-Built's tub armor. And there's a scooter. So I already have one piece of armor on. I was messing with it because we're trying to figure out what to do with the paint. We don't know if we want to do this raw or paint it black. We don't know, because we're going with the silver grill that I had hanging on the wall, because his old grill was bent. This headlight was actually facing this way just a little bit. So we're getting a silver grill. We're going to be highlining this hood right here, and we're also doing the Moto-Built tub armor. We're going to be doing the Moto-Built rockers. Eventually we're going to be doing the Moto-Built tub armor in the back also, but for now we're just going to be just running these. So before we get started on getting the Rusty's 3-inch suspension on the front, I just want to give a huge shout out to my buddy Chad Edmondson. He's helped us out getting these Moto-Built products to my shop. So if you're looking to get any Moto-Built products, definitely hit Chad up. You can find him at Edmondson Off-Road on Instagram. And while you're on his page, you can check out his sick LJ. It's really cool. It's awesome. I've already got the axle somewhat of where it's gonna live. I haven't really lined it up. I've got it on the jack stands and I went inside. So I've got all the arms measured out the way they need to be, just like I did the rear. I've got my safety slippers on. So I think we're ready to start throwing some suspension parts at this thing. So if you're going to be swapping in a Dana 30 or a Dana 44 like this one into your Jeep, make sure that you go to Barnes 4-Wheel Drive and get the cam bolt eliminator kit. It's like $14 and it is amazing. So the cam bolt on the factory Jeep axles for the TJs, they go right here. And so what this does is this sits right there and fills up that void, and then you can just take, one goes on the back side also, but so what you do is you just run the bolt all the way through, right on through just like that, and no more cam bolt. I'm going to be putting the lowers in first, and so you can see right here, this is my drop down bracket or the subframe bracket for the control arms. And so what I'm going to do is take my grade 8 bolt and find a washer. Crap. Alright, so I got my washer. So I'm going to start by putting this up here just like this. Simple enough. So now I'll get this set up. I'm going to be setting up this cam bolt eliminator kit right here, and I'm going to go ahead and get it started. Just kind of like that. Alright, so I've got that one on right there, so now I'll put the back side of that kit on. And get that on. Alright, then I'll just put my nut on, and I'm just going to leave everything loose for right now, and I'm going to go to the other side and put that lower on. I got the passenger side lower on, and now I'm going to be putting this upper on right here. I'm going to get this top bolt in. So now I'll get the passenger side upper on. The passenger side is all mocked up. I say mocked up just because I don't have anything tightened up. I'm not going to tighten up anything suspension wise until the tires are on and it's resting on its own weight. Man, that looks sick though. You can see I remeasured everything before I put it in. OCD. Next thing that I'm going to do is got to get those transmission lines out of the way because I got to get the track bar on. So I just realized, and I should have realized it before, but when we got this axle, it had the truss already welded and everything on, and it has this massive track bar tower. See, I'll show you the track bar right here, the track bar tower. So the factory track bar went like down here. These are up here, which isn't bad. I just don't think that we're going to be able to use this track bar. So you can see where it bolts up to the frame, goes down like this and then over. If this was straight across, then it would probably work. Alright, so it is a couple of days later, and I've got the axle moved up and I actually have the springs in. It's not at ride height yet, but it gave me a closer measurement for my track bar. And so what I did is actually found an old track bar, and I ended up welding on the end that fits the tie rod in, so that way we can just bolt it on. I got the grade 8 bolt through this track bar tower right here. That went in very nicely. So now I'll get the other side on. Alright, so get this pushed up in there, just like that. Then I'll get the nut on top of that started. I'll tighten this up pretty snug, and this is probably going to come back off once I get the tires on, once I do like an alignment on this thing. This is just kind of just to keep the axle center for right now. Alright, so now I'm going to get the steering on, and so what we're running on this Jeep, it's going to be Heim joint steering from Rusty's, and you can see this Dana 44 obviously has custom high steer welded on already. So we're going to have to, you know, obviously fabricate that steering to work, which we already have. But so normally the steering would be down here, but it's been picked up to right here. So that's pretty cool. And it's also got gussets on the C's right here. Get those out of the way. But it's also got the gussets right here, top and bottom. So it's pretty cool. It's definitely a beefy 44. So because we're running this high steer steering, we're going to have to run the stock pitman arm. So I put it back on. Probably should have checked before I took it off. But we are going to have to drill this out. Alright, so I got the stock pitman arm drilled out to 5/8. So got my 5/8 bolt, and that's how it's going to be connected to the drag link, which will be connected to the high steer on the passenger side. Alright, so now I'm going to take the other end of the drag link and get it down the high steer arm here. And you see I'm using a grade 8 bolt. And now I'm going to take the tie rod and push up the end of this grade 8 bolt, and it's going to go to the opposite side of the knuckle. That way the knuckles turn just the same. This will be a lot easier with 2 people, but so all the steering is on and it's tightened up and it looks pretty good. The angles are good. It looks like I got to do some adjustments to kind of get this coil straightened out. I'm going to get this thing on its own weight and see where we're at. Check it out. I put the front bumper on for dramatic effects, but I'm really digging this. I think whenever we get those fenders on, it's really gonna finish up everything, kind of tie everything together. So I had a prediction whenever we were putting everything together that the rear would be taller than the front, and it looks like I'm correct. What I may end up doing is putting a 1-inch spacer or something in the front just to kind of pick it up some, and that'll kind of give me some more clearances for my steering. So this high steering is pretty high, so you can see right here, look at the clearance in between my pitman arm and my tie rod. Of course, I don't have any shocks on it, so it's like lowrider status right now, but yeah, that's not good. So I'm thinking it needs to be picked up in the front just a little bit. And if it's already this low in the front and I don't have the fenders or the winch or anything on the front, then it's definitely going to be nose candy. So probably going to have to get some spacers for the front, but that's not a big deal to me. It'll be a win-win for the ride height and for the steering. So I'm pretty stoked about how this build is turning out. Some of the things that I'm not sure of right now is the transfer case. So I've got some options there. I can put a slip yoke eliminator on the rear of the 231 that's in there. That's an option. Another option is to find a Rubicon transfer case like I did for the Comanche and swap that in. That was probably one of the greatest things I've ever done to that Jeep besides the rear 4-link. But everyone knows that you're more likely to encounter a unicorn in the wild than come across a good deal on a TJ Rubicon case. I really don't want to wait 8 weeks for an Atlas or a Midnight Metalworks case. So drop down in the comments what transfer case you would like to see in this Jeep. I am honestly open to suggestions. Right now, I'm honestly leaning towards a slip yoke eliminator on the back of the 231. But if anyone on the East Coast has a Rubicon transfer case, please let me know. I'm very interested in it. All right, so we got the TJ in the middle bay, and what Steven is doing, he's going underneath the Jeep, and since the weight of the Jeep is on the suspension, he is going ahead and torquing down the grade 8 bolts on the axle. And so what I'm going to do while he's doing that, he's probably not going to like it, but I'm going to go ahead and cut this hood for the Highlines. So whenever you cut these hoods for the Highlines, most kits, you cut 3 inches from the bottom of this hood right here. You do not follow this line. I've seen people do that. You actually go 3 inches from the bottom and go all the way down. And some people will take the hood off. I've done it both ways. I'm probably just going to leave this hood on, that way I don't have to realign it. But if you want to be extra precautious, take your hood off before you do this. So now that I have my line 3 inches from the bottom drawn up right here, I use frog tape, that way it's a little more visible. And so what I'm using is just a cutting disc on an angle grinder, and we'll see how it goes. Yep. And he's clearancing right there. So I have the hood pretty much where I want it. I want to do just kind of a little bit more shaving right here. But other than that, I think these look pretty daggone good. Check this out. Let me get out of the way. I'm really digging how this Jeep is turning out. Like, I love the Highline fenders. I love the silver grille. I love the stubby winch bumper. It is looking really good. And the lines are starting to line back up. So we're probably going to be doing hood pins. So it's going to be pulled down just a little bit. But, I mean, this is pretty much spot on. But you can see right here, it's just a little close. I'd rather have, you know, where you could put like a business card in between this and the fender. And right here you can't. But, yeah, it's looking really good. So we kind of went back to the drawing board on this suspension, and, you know, we talked about how the front end is pulled down just a little bit. So what we're going to end up doing is putting some ACOS on these. You know, we're going to order those, and whenever they come in, I'll show you, you know, obviously I'll show you how to put them on. But what they are, it's just an adjustable coil spacer. So that way, you know, on these Jeeps, whenever you start adding heavy things like, you know, these steel fenders, you know, a big bumper, a winch, you know, it starts bringing things down in the front. It starts putting a load on the suspension. Those ACOS, you can just bring it right back up and fine tune your ride height. And that's going to do a couple of things for this Jeep because of how close the steering is up under here with the high steer. So that's kind of going to give us some breathing room under there for steering, and it's going to level the Jeep out. So it's kind of, you know, two birds with one stone type deal.